Hi class, Dr. Warren here, and welcome to EDU601. In this class, the third of the Online Educator series, you will completely build out your entire class. You'll have all your lessons in place with all the resources, lectures, videos, information needed for your students to be successful and to complete your class having achieved all the learning outcomes that you specified in the beginning. So in this class, you're going to pull all those lessons together, grab all those resource videos, activities that your students are going to do. And by the end of the 6 weeks of this class, you will have a beautiful online class of your very own. Okay? So, that sounds kind of intimidating, and it can be, but we give you a theory to help you work through those lessons. And I just love this theory. I'm going to jump to it right now. It's in the week 1 draft. Notice this little graphic over here to the right. It's called the Community of Inquiry. Now, before I jump there, because the graphic is kind of overwhelming at first when you look at it, before I go there, the Community of Inquiry was developed by Garrison, Anderson, and Archer, and it's all about teaching in an online course. So it's all about online education, okay? So the Community of Inquiry theory is all about online education. Now, Garrison and his colleagues came up with 3 what they called presences: teaching presence, cognitive presence, social presence. And they say that those 3 presences must be in an online class to make it a robust experience for students, okay? Let's go there and take a look at those presences. So here's the Community of Inquiry home site, and they've got this big, huge graphic, okay? The Community of Inquiry. All right, notice we have the cognitive, well, they've got all these things in here. We've got the cognitive presence, okay? And the cognitive presence is kind of where they're learning, where your students are in there and they're learning and they're using their brain and thinking through and experiencing the activities and really digging into the subject matter. Cognitive presence. Then we've got the teaching presence, and that's where you as instructor create this environment of trust and safety and vulnerability, where students feel like they can ask questions and they can, just kind of really explore and feel this discomfort of not knowing. They're just learning. Being a student is a vulnerable experience. So kind of making the space safe for them and also helping guide the learning. That's the teaching presence. The social presence is the one that might be new to you. And the social presence is where you're interacting with other students, you're interacting with the professor, and you're all learning from each other through that interaction. So there's people in there, and people stimulate learning. And so that's kind of, and then the social presence again is just feeling safe, you can be who you are, and to really feel like those are real people in the room, not just some online, email or just, somebody you don't really know, don't really care about. Start to build relationships with each other. So again, cognitive presence, teaching presence, social presence. What I really like about this is when they interact with each other. So when you have cognitive presence interacting with teaching presence, that's where the teacher is pulling the content and guiding the student through the process of the learning of the material, right? When you have the social presence and teaching presence interacting, that's where you're setting the climate, building trust, creating a safe space. And the one that I like the most is the cognitive presence, and when it interacts with the social presence, where you're learning simply because there's other people there and you're talking about the material and discussing it among yourselves. And that's where it's supporting discourse, which discourse is conversation, dialogue, and kind of bringing deeper meaning to the content through interaction with other people, okay? So that's kind of the Community of Inquiry, all right? And the way that this is really going to help you build your online class is through cognitive presence. The first week you are going to focus on cognitive presence, okay? Now, there's phases, according to Garrison and his colleagues, there's phases of cognitive presence. And this is where it's really going to help you. I'm going to download it and open it up. This is going to help you think through your lessons in Module 1 and Module 2, okay? And depending on how complicated your class is, you do not necessarily need to have more than one set of cognitive presence phases per module. Let me tell you what I mean by that, okay? So the cognitive presence, in the cognitive presence, there's 4 phases. There's a triggering event. Triggering is where you're just kind of getting the students started. They're starting to think about the material. They're like, okay, what am I going to learn? How does it connect to me personally? So you're looking for a way to just kind of kick them off. That might be, it could be something as simple as a video to kind of just get them started thinking about the material. You're not teaching them anything yet. It's just something to kick it off, get them kind of warmed up to your topic, okay? It might be a comic strip. That's a really great way sometimes to just kind of establish, or it might be an exercise where they go, do you remember the time when you blah, blah, blah? Okay, so you just kind of, you want to leave them hanging a little bit. You want to just kind of establish a little connection to the material and make them want to learn more. That's the triggering event, okay? Now comes the exploration. Now comes jumping into the material. They're going out and researching the material. You're sending them out, you're giving them lectures, you're sending them out to think about through activities, maybe through a research activity, maybe through watching videos and then, you know, kind of interacting the video in some way, or just providing a lecture, a PowerPoint lecture. You're giving them experience, you're teaching them the skills and knowledge, okay? But to really make use of that skills and knowledge, they have to start to now integrate it into and apply it to their own experiences and their own perspective on life. So now they've learned the material, then comes the integration. Now they're acting on it, they're applying it, they're talking about it. So you might have a discussion board after the exploration activity where they're just kind of making sense of it, okay? And finally comes the resolution, which is the reflection. Wrapping it up, it's the big so what. The resolution is the so what. Why is this important? Why is this meaningful to me in my life? And often it's a reflection activity, or even a discussion board, you know, and they interact with each other. Why is this meaningful to you personally? So again, I love this because it just makes it so easy to build a lesson. You're gonna kick it off with a little something to stimulate their thinking about the content. Then you're gonna teach them the material, okay? You're going to show them the information, you're gonna give them lectures, give them a video, etc. Then they're going to do something with what they just learned in the integration event. They apply it, they experience it, kind of try it out. And finally, then once they've done that, now they've learned the material, they've applied it. Now comes the sitting back and evaluating, if you think of Bloom's taxonomy, the evaluation stage, thinking about, okay, why is this important to me? How can I use it in the future? How can I transfer it to being something useful in my life? That's the reflection and resolution activity. So again, this is really going to be great for you to use this framework to start to build your lesson, okay? So this week, you go ahead and start to think about what are the 4 phases of cognitive presence in your Module 1 and in your Module 2. So you're just going to kind of build an outline. Think about Module 1, triggering event, exploration, integration, reflection, or resolution, okay? And then Module 2, same thing, okay? So that's all we want, our 8 phases, 4 in Module 1, 4 in Module 2, and just kind of thinking it through and working with your instructor. There is a mentorship exchange, which means that's the video where you then provide the outline draft, and then you think about it, talk about it, debrief to your instructor, and I'll get back to you with feedback, okay? Let's see here. Let's go back to the week. So again, this is a big class. I hope you have carved out time to do the work in this class. This is a big class, okay? So yes, we have the welcome call, and we'll get going on that. We've got the cognitive, 4 phases of cognitive presence that you'll be building for Module 1 and 2. Just brainstorming your ideas, not starting to pull the resources together or lectures or anything. And then the mentorship exchange, okay? Now, in week 2, you then continue building that Module 1. Now you're starting to pull together the resources, you're building the lectures, you're creating that really robust experience in your Module 1, okay? Week 3, you're working on Module 1, continue to finish it up, and then you're starting to move into social presence, okay? And so in the social presence, you're going to build a relationship, make it safe for your students to be in your classroom through a post-year introduction forum where students get to know each other and get to see each other as real people. You'll also have a blog around communication, which is an important way to establish social presence, okay? Now, in week 3, you're starting to develop in week 4 and 5, you're starting to work on your teaching presence, okay? Meanwhile, you're building in week 4 your Module 2. Module 1 should be done by week 3, and now you're working on your Module 2 and getting that one all finished up with the 4 phases of cognitive presence again. And on into week 5 with the teaching presence, and then finishing everything up in week 6. So that's kind of an overview of the course. And the community of inquiry is really powerful in helping you develop a robust online course that truly supports your students and supports you as instructor in teaching your students. Okay, so just kind of makes it easy for teachers and students using this community of inquiry theory. So I know you'll enjoy the class. I always enjoy watching you guys build out your courses and just see all that creative juices coming to focus. And we'll be seeing you later. Thank you.